Hi guys, welcome to the FROSTBITES podcast. My name is Minna. I'm coming to you from northern Finland, and this is my podcast about knitting and crafting and sometimes about Finnish nature. I usually film my episodes outside, but the temperatures have dropped dramatically over the past few days. It is now below 0 degrees centigrade, so it is way too cold for me to film outside the whole episode. So I thought that I would share you a little bit of what it looks like at the moment outdoors here in northern Finland, and then head indoors to film the rest of the episode. So I see you back indoors. This is the swamp area, and it is very wet around here. We've had a couple of nights below 0, and we got our first snow on Thursday, I think. Today's Monday. It's easier to get around in the swamp right now, but it still is very wet, and there is water under the ice, so I have to be careful not to soak my feet in the puddles. There isn't much snow here in the forest, but you can definitely see it in open areas like this, that we did actually get a bit of snow the other day, but some of it has already melted because the daytime temperatures usually rise above 0. I think right now it is about -2. It was -7 when I woke up this morning, so it has been a cold, very cold night. And it is only October. The autumn so far has been very warm, and suddenly it got very cold. But I'm pretty sure that it's not winter yet. We will get warmer days. And yeah, still some time for being able to go skiing. I think I'm going to enjoy a cup of hot berry juice. I think it's lingonberry juice again that I have with me, and then head back home. But I just want to enjoy the sun while it is up. As you can see, it's behind the clouds, but you can still see it. So, I'm back indoors. Welcome to the episode 22. Today I'm going to talk about my whips, both knitting and sewing, and I have some new things that I want to share with you, and also let's start with the Taitolehti giveaway. So on my last episode I announced a giveaway for this extra copy of Taitolehti, Taito magazine number 5, which is the latest issue. And this is the magazine by Finnish Craft Association. There are articles about very skillful artists and artisans in Finland, and also some instructions on knitting, crocheting, sewing, weaving, all kinds of things. So there were 13 entries in my Ravelry group, and I have my random number generator here, and the winner is number 9, who is Henuliini. Let's see, she is Henna from Finland. And the prompt for this giveaway was to tell me what kind of pattern or what kind of project would you take for travel, as a travel knitting. And Henuliini's answer was socks or crocheting is my favorite jobs in car. So she, like so many others, suggested for the best travel knitting to be socks. And I think I have to agree. I usually have a sock project with me when I leave the house, unless I have a very mindless sweater that is not too big to carry on. So congratulations, Henuliini. Get in touch with me through Instagram or Ravelry and let me know where you would like to get this magazine shipped to. So let me know your address. Now I think we can move on straight to the knitting part of things. I have a few whips here with me. The first one is my Delia sweater by Jennifer Steingas, who I've come across suddenly everywhere, it feels like. She designed a new sweater for the latest liner issue, and also she has a sweater pattern in the Woods Making Stories book, which I'm going to show you a bit later. But this is the Delia sweater, and I have both of the sleeves here, and the body is around waist right now. I have gone past the waistline. I think it's around here. So pretty soon I will be joining the sleeves and we'll start the color work for the yoke, which is a bit similar to this in the hem. And I'm using 100% Finship wool, which I purchased from Northern Karelia when I went there in September, I think it was. So it was locally raised Finship, and the main color is the natural color of the wool, and then also the two darker shades, the brown and the gray, are also natural colors. And then I have used some Finship wool which I have dyed with birch leaves, and then I need another colorway, and I am thinking that I'm going to use, where is it, either this one that I have dyed with madder root. This is a lot thinner yarn, but I could hold it double. Or the other option is to dye something with onion peels. But I think I will have to leave this until I get back from my trip in November, especially if I am going to dye some more yarn. So that's that. And then the next project I have in my new fringe field bag, which I'm going to tell you more about later. And here is my almost finished Sides and Stripes sweater by Veera Välimäki. I have made a very good progress with this during this weekend. So the body has been finished already, and I think I was knitting on my first sleeve on my last episode, I think. And I have finished it, and then also the other sleeve is almost finished as well. I think I only have about 5 centimeters to go. I'm using my Chargo 4mm circular needles, and for the sleeves I have now started using 2 circular needles, so that it's easier for me to control the tension on the last stitch when I'm beginning the next needle. Whereas if I was only using 1 circular needle, I would have the end of the first needle, or the stitches from the end of the first needle on the cable when starting the next needle. So I find that very difficult to keep the tension correct with larger needle sizes. For socks it's fine because the cable is almost the size of the needle itself. But when I'm using larger needles like these ones, and when the cord is completely different in size, I find it easier to keep the tension right when I leave the last stitches on the needle. I don't pull the whole needle out when I'm starting the next needle. So I guess I could do this in DPNs as well, but I prefer this method, at least for now. And my yarn is Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles in 2 different colorways, which are very close to each other in the colors. So the gray one is Oracle and the lighter one is Teacup, and both of those yarns have pink and yellow and green speckles, and they both also have the gray has the natural white color, in it, and the natural white has grey, so it creates this very interesting, like an aquarelle watercolor effect, which I really enjoy. And I'm hoping to finish this tonight, or at least tomorrow. So, and the reason why I really want to finish this sweater now is because I'm thinking that I want to bring this to my trip. It will be a warm place, but it's good to have something that you can just throw on in the evenings when it might get a bit chillier. And what I'm doing here with my sweater, I received this plain fabric bag, drawstring bag from Fringe Supply Company when I ordered the field bag, and I just started using it as a protective bag for my sweater, because when you're knitting the sleeves you have to move your sweater around a lot, especially when striping, and if you don't want to get your yarns all tangled, you have to move around your sweater while you're knitting. And I was a bit worried that this single ply yarn would start peeling even before the sweater is finished. So I'm just keeping it in this other bag on my lap while I'm knitting, and then it's easier to maneuver the turning of the sweater while knitting on it. And it still fits in the bag very well. So that is the other sweater project. And then I might as well show you this one, because you have probably already forgotten this. I haven't been knitting on this in a long time, and I still haven't, but I'm planning to take this one to my trip, so that I would finally get a dent on this. This is the Sammark Guard cardigan by Johi Locatelli. It is a cardigan that she designed for the Finnish yarn company Tuku Wool. And I am knitting this cardigan for my mother. She has her birthday in January, and I am hoping to finish this by then. But I just haven't been in the mood for knitting this in a long time. It requires a lot of concentration because it is patterned all around, and especially when doing the raglan increases, you really have to pay attention. There's also a nice little cable detail in the front on both sides, and you also knit the button band as you go. So there is a lot of things happening at the same time, but I hope that once I have separated for the sleeves, it will get easier, because then I don't have to worry too much about increases, and I probably would have already memorized the pattern. The moss stitch pattern itself is not difficult, but every time on the wrong side, when you have gone past the increase line, I always have to check which do I have to purl or knit first. And then once you get going, it's easier. And I suppose if I was knitting on this actively, say every day or even every week, I would remember what I'm supposed to do. But I have been knitting on this once here and once there, maybe having a month in between, and I always have to go through the whole thing before I know what I'm supposed to do. And I also have a new set of needles that I talked about on my last episode. I ordered these Lykke needles, which I was surprised to find out I was only able to find them in American web shops. So I decided to order these from the French supply company, and you can't just order 2 pairs of needles. I ordered also sock needles, so that's why I got my French field bag as well, which I love, I have to say. And I was quite happy with how these felt. I haven't been using these needles a lot, but I have tried the number 4mm size for my Sides and Stripes sweater. The cable is a bit stiff, at least now that it's been just opened from the package, but I hope it will get more flexible after I've used it for a while. And the needle itself is very smooth, and the tip is quite pointy. I don't know if I don't think that it's quite as pointy as my metal needles, my Chaugus. I'm not sure. They are almost the same. But somehow I think I still feel like the wooden one is a little bit blunt, more blunt. Maybe it's just the very tip that it is different. But I'm hoping that it's sharp enough for me to be able to easily work on the cables and increases and decreases, because that's where I like to have a very pointy tip, very sharp tip. It is not quite as smooth for the stitches as a metal needle, but for a wooden one I think it's a very good option. And once I have been knitting a bit more, I can tell more about my experience. So that was the cardigan, and then I have a pair of socks that I'm working on. I keep it in my very cute little Kauniste bag, which I bought from Helsinki when I went there last time. I think it's so cute. It's a Finnish company, and they have their own shop at very near the cathedral, and they only sell their own fabrics which they have printed, and also some products made from those prints. And here I have my first ever sock blank sock. I bought this sock plank from Jyväskylä Knit Festival last summer. It doesn't have a tag, but I think it was from Lanitium Ex Machina, a Finnish dyer. And this is where I am at right now. I am making the Vanilla is the New Black sock, which is, it has become my favorite kind of sock. I still can't quite remember how to do the heel by heart, so I have to read the instructions every now and then. But I really like the fit, so that's why I keep knitting on these. And this is how it patterns up. There are sort of like these spiraling stripes of grey and brown on the top, and then some purple lines, and there's quite a lot of purple coming up, and then there is a long bit where there is just mostly grey and black. And I wonder, when I'm finished with this sock, whether I should unravel this a little bit and then start at a part where I get this purple again, so that it wouldn't be too much different than the first sock. We'll see. It is a bit uneven, but as my gauge is so tight, it doesn't look that bad even without blocking. And I think after soaking this, it will be as good as from a normal skein. I think this is also quite nice for traveling, because you don't have to worry about dropping your ball of yarn on a floor, on a dirty floor, on a train or somewhere, and it unravels very easily. So yeah, good invention, I think. And I like how the patterning gets a very different feel to it when it's from a sock plank compared to knitting from a skein. So it's an interesting experiment for me. I think that those were all my whips in knitting. And then I also have my sewing whip, which is my bird shirt that I'm working on in the sewing course where I go to each week. Although now I've had a couple of weeks when I haven't been able to attend. But this is where I'm at. I have added the collar now. It still needs to be sewn down. It looks a bit stiff now because I pinned it so that you could see it more properly. And then I only need to do the hem and the buttonholes and sew on the buttons, and then it's finished. And I'm really happy in how it is turning out. There is a little pleat at the back, no pockets, darts on the sides here, also in the back, and the cufflinks are finished. I only have to add a buttonhole in there, and I found really nice buttons as well. I hope you can see these. They go really well with the brown color in the shirt, and yeah, I really like them. I was surprised that I was able to find them from the first fabric store where I went to, and this store usually doesn't have a very good selection in buttons, but I was quite pleased that I found these. I don't think that I would have found any better buttons from anywhere else. So that should be finished also. Maybe I'm hoping to I'm able to go this week at least on one evening. It's also always on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and we can choose when to go. I usually go on just one day of the week. But this week, as I don't have any work meetings or anything in the evenings, I might be able to go there on both days. And if I do that, I'm pretty sure that I can finish this week. Then I have some new things to show you, both yarn and fabric and other bits and pieces. We had a craft fair in Oulu. Was it 2 weeks ago? Or a week and a half ago or something. And I didn't have anything specific in mind when I went there. There have been years when I didn't buy anything, and it really varies yearly what kind of products are sold there and which companies are there. And this year I think the fair was very good, in my opinion, and for my interests. Yeah, so let's just go through what I got from there. First of all, I of course had to go to the booth of my favorite yarn dyer, Louhittaren Luola, and Tuulia had some new yarn bases with her at the fair, so I couldn't resist. I wasn't looking for a sweater's quantity, but that's what I ended up buying. So this is one Finnish sheep breed. I was about to say brand, but it's not a brand. A Finnish sheep brand, which I think is quite not brand. Now I said it. This is the wool from a Finnish sheep breed, which is I think quite rare. It's Kainuu grey. Finn sheep is the most common breed in Finland, I think. I'm not an expert on sheep breeds, but that's what you usually come across when you are looking for breed specific yarn. And I have been wanting to try Kainuu grey yarn for quite a long time now, but I haven't seen it anywhere. And I nearly ordered some online a few weeks before the craft fair, but then I didn't, and I'm quite glad because now I have it in both natural colors. I have 3 skeins in natural grey, and then these 3 amazing colors that Tuulia has dyed. And even though this is a rustic yarn and woolly wool, it feels very soft, even without the dye and even before knitting. And I think it will soften up with knitting and then of course soaking and blocking. And what Tuulia said is that it also plumps up when you soak it, so I think it will be a very good choice for color work. And the colorways that I have are, so first of all, this base is called Kaino, and it is 100% Kainuu grey wool. 230 meters per 100 grams. And this color is keltamulta, valanlaulu, and this one is karpalo. I have used these colors in different bases before, but the red one is new for me, and I think that they go really well together. I actually have very similar 3 colors in Triskelion yarns that I bought from Unravel Festival from Farnham 2 years ago, but I haven't used them yet for anything. So maybe if I knit up a colorwork sweater with these, I could also knit up a scarf or a shawl from the merino wool that this Triskelion yarn is to go with the sweater. We'll see. I'm not sure if these 3 natural skeins are enough. I suppose it depends on which pattern I choose to make, but Tulia said that she has more of this natural from the same lot, so I should be fine if I need one more. Or I could also add some more color work for the hem or something. So, new yarn. Then I also bought a weaving loom from the Craft Association booth. I think I'm going to, once I have some more spinning done, I'm going to use the first yarns that I have spun, which is very uneven artistic yarn. I'm going to use for weaving, because I don't think that I will be able to knit anything out of them. But it's a long way coming. I haven't touched my spinning wheel in ages. I haven't tried weaving before either, so it will be an interesting experiment. And my last purchase from the craft fair is this jersey fabric. I think it's gorgeous. It is this petrol colored, very soft and stretchy jersey with a deer print in white, and I was told that the print designer lives in Finland. She's a Finnish artist, so I really like the idea of having some Finnish fabric to work with. And I think I'm going to make a tunic out of this, or a dress. But I haven't really sewn anything other than what I'm working on the sewing class. So I really need to wash these fabrics. I showed you some last episode as well, and start sewing again. And this fabric I bought from Iloinen Kettuliini booth. I think that's all the new things. I might say a few words about this field bag. I have been drooling over this for a long time, but they are quite expensive. So it took me a while before I finally made the decision of getting one. But I have to say that it really feels like a very sturdy and good functional project bag. If you haven't got one of these or haven't seen one before, they are very spacious. They can easily fit a sweater project inside. And there are pockets. On one side there is a large pocket for your pattern or whatever you want to put in there. And there are 3 holes that you can use as yarn guides. And then on the other side there is a smaller pocket where I can easily fit my notebook and a little notions pouch or purse. And then there are 3 little pockets for your pen or your DPNs or something that you need to put in there. And of course the leather handle, so you can carry it while you're knitting. And yeah, I'm very pleased with it. And as you can see, I now have 2 little skeins or balls of yarn in there, but you can easily, I would say, fit at least 2 full ones. Let's see, where did I put my large ball of yarn? This is like, I think this is 100 grams of DK weight. I could be wrong, but this is not fingering anyways. So there is plenty of room in there. You can easily fit 2 bigger balls and still have your sweater project or a big shawl on top of that. So finally I have a field bag, and I have to say this is my favorite bag at the moment. And since I've been working on a lot of sweaters this year, I've been struggling with my existing bags because they don't really, none of them really fit a sweater when it's on its final stage, other than this one that I made. But this is very, it's not stiff. It's very loose and floppy, and that's why I don't like this one so much. Nowadays when I make project bags, I usually put some either an interfacing, or I have this very thin but stiff fabric that I usually put in between the materials, but this one doesn't have it. I think this is the first one I ever made for myself, so I didn't know any better. But with this one, I like the sturdiness of the fabric. It stands up on its own and also protects your project, and your needles don't poke through the bag, and it's very well thought. I highly recommend, even though it is pricey. Then I have one more bag and one more thing which arrived last week, I think. I was able to get the So Sweet Violet's beautiful advent calendar package. And Jules, who is So Sweet Violet, and she also has a podcast by that name. Go check her out. She's just a lovely person. I enjoy her podcast very much. She made an amazing amount of these advent calendars. She must have been sewing like a crazy lady. And I am so happy that I was able to get one. And it's full of goodies inside. I'm not going to show you because maybe someone of you has already ordered one. So there is something for each day during Advent time before Christmas. 24 little gifts. And it is my first ever Yarny Advent calendar, and I'm very happy. And I think I might have to take the first package with me for my trip because I'm returning either on 1st or the 2nd of December, and I want to be able to open it as soon as possible. So that is that. And finally, I have 2 magazines or books that I want to show you. Many of you have already seen the new Line magazine, issue 3. I just received mine last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? Again, the most beautiful knitting magazine there is, or actually I think I would like to call this a book because it's so much more than just a magazine. Jonna and Sini have done amazing work, and I think the layout is a bit different this time, but it looks very much like the previous issues. Like the aesthetics of it is the same, and there are interesting articles. Marianne Isager, Wistwool. What else was there? Viola yarns. And of course, the amazing patterns. I was able to test knit the hay sweater, which is pictured in the cover. And I have been wearing a lot of that sweater. And I don't think there is a single pattern that I wouldn't want to knit in this book. And like I said, Jennifer Steingass keeps popping up everywhere. And she had a sweater in here as well. Some people have already finished knitting their Tresta pullover. Where is it? Here. This one. And I really like the grey cardigan. I can't seem to find any of these. The Theolai cardigan, a very loosely fitted. And then I also absolutely adore this Kiuru sweater. I think this is stunning. I'm not sure if I would be able to knit this because of the heavy patterning. I am more of a mindless knitter than someone who likes to follow charts. But this is just amazing, and it is designed by a Finnish knitwear designer, Sari Nordlund. Oh, if I only had all the time to knit on these. And I also like this sweater. It says Virva here, but I think Virva is the hat and mittens. Yes, the sweater is called Hygge. It's by Verena Kors. Which brings me to my other book, The Woods Making Stories by Verena Kors and Hanna-Lisa Haferkamp. They are German-based knitwear designers who came up with this crowdfunding a book which was crowdfunded first, and I think it's now available for purchase for anyone. And all the sneak peeks that I saw on Instagram before it was published and when the crowdfunding was still going on, those made me want to take part in the crowdfunding. And I have to say, also in this book, everything is something that I could imagine myself wearing. Just amazing. And they are using ethically produced yarns from Europe in all these patterns. There are tutorials, and the most amazing patterns, again, Jennifer Steingass. And there are a few articles in here in sizing and sweater construction. And also there is a designer profile for each of these patterns. So you get the pattern, you get a designer profile, which is like an interview of the designer, and then a yarn profile about the yarn that the sample was knitting. And I think my favorite out of these gorgeous patterns is this one, Black Forest Cardigan. And it is a design by Verena Kors. There's a detail of the pattern. And this is knit in the Rerum Natura yarn. I think it's DK weight. And then another one that I really like is this one. This version of this tunic, which is called Delamere dress. So I really like the grey one. The purple one is more fitted and the grey one is an A-line dress or tunic. I highly recommend, if you haven't received or bought one yet, that you go and check them out. They are already working on their second book, I think, which is called Breeze. And if it's anything like this, I think I really need to get that one as well. I think I would be sorted for 10 years if I only had these 2 books to knit on, or to knit from. Amazing books and amazingly talented designers and photographers and whatnot. I think that's all for now. I still have to go out actually pretty soon. I have to get the winter tires for my car changed. It has been a bit slippery already because of the frosty nights, and I think it is about time that I got my car tires changed. We received our first snow on Thursday, and I've been very happy because I really am looking forward to the winter time. I know it's not winter yet, and it still takes time for us to get a proper snow cover and proper wintry temperatures, but I think this is a promise about the winter that is about to approach, and it makes me happy. And I also love wearing all the knitwear and cozying up inside, and also enjoy the crisp air outside. So yeah, this morning I took all my hand knits outside to get some fresh air. And yeah, winter is coming, so we must keep on knitting. I'll see you next time. Bye.